Okay, so my papers are so calling the meeting to order for the Town of Adams Parks and Recs Commission for Monday, April 26th, 5 o'clock. Being held Zoom pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, subsection 18, and the Governor's March 15th and July 2nd, 2020 orders imposing the strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Town of Adams Parks Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort has been made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. Attending remotely are members Jake Schutz.
Jake here.
Hi. Yeah, I'm here. I'm just heading to dance class. We're going to do a little hip hop tonight.
Oh, can you video that? I'd love to see it.
I will try.
Okay. And then attending from, as I see in the town hall, I see Jim Fassel.
Present. And Paul Nowicki's just got there.
Is Paul Nowicki here?
He's on his way. He's walking.
Right now. Oh.
Okay. And then, hi, Paul.
Hi.
Attending from the town, and so Jim and Paul are attending from the town. We have posted today's agenda in accordance with open meeting law, which included the call-in information for the meeting. Despite our best efforts, if we are not able to provide for real-time access for the public to participate in today's meeting, a recording of this meeting can be made available by request as this meeting is being recorded using the Zoom platform. As we are participating remotely, please note that all votes taken during this meeting will be called by a roll call vote. I will state the member's name and ask for their vote for each vote necessary today. So approval of the minutes from the March 8th meeting.
Motion we approve them as written. Second.
So Jim Fassel, motion, second. Is that Paul that seconded?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor? Jake?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Unanimous, all approved. The minutes for March 8th, 2021. New business, field use schedule and update when the fields will be open for use. Water needs to be turned on.
It's too early.
No, it's not too early for that because of COVID.
So can I just see, it's hard when you guys are talking there, if there's more than one of you talking, it captures everything. So I can't really tell who's talking. So I see Mr. Tober is here, Paul is there. Is Mr. Scrocky here too?
Yeah.
And Mr. Fassel's over there, and that's Michelle. Okay.
Yeah.
So who's gonna speak on the field use?
We're waiting on the selectmen to okay the usage. And there's a problem with the water's not out because of the we're still in the red with COVID. So you don't want to open them up until we're out of danger with that. But I think that Robert, you say that they could use the fields without the bid? That's the other.
Yeah, so there's a number of constraints, obviously, the first one being the health pandemic and the regulations there. I believe Mark is joining us on this call too, but As far as the town is concerned, it's the intent of the town of Adams to restore normal use of the fields as soon as possible. We did have a meeting earlier, I met with Mark, and we discussed where we stand there, and I'm going to leave it to him to discuss a little bit on that. But as far as use of our fields are concerned, we know, for instance, Russell Field is not available. It's still under construction. The plan right now, after speaking with community development, is that the construction should be done sometime in June. But the grass, the constructor has advised us to wait till possibly as long as the fall until the grass is established, so that no usage of the fields. We'll have to take that and look at it one day at a time to see how that grass is establishing itself.
Okay.
Is Mark, are you online, Mark?
I am.
Could you give us some feedback as far as the field usage in terms of the pandemic and where we stand?
Well, the guidance originates from the Department of the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs. I have provided all of the proposed users with the most current revision of those standards. The public health order that I issued last year after consultation with the Board of Selectmen still remains in effect, and I circulated a draft of the revision for 2021, and the only significant change to that would be that we're going to continue to keep the restrooms and concessions closed unless the organization needs to have them open for a specific event. And any other large gathering that might occur in a park, playground, or athletic field would require a COVID safety plan submitted 10 days ahead of any scheduled activity. And then the fine structure has been increased to $1,000 per violation, rather than the previous order said $300.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Mike Matera is waiting in the waiting room. Can you let him in, Michelle?
Thank you.
So if the restrooms are closed and the concessions are closed, but they know that they are having a specific like large event, if there's like a tournament or something like that, then they can be used, because I believe everybody has keys to the restrooms. I'm just thinking if you have a practice with, a team of kids, and they need to use the restroom because they're drinking water and stuff, would the coaches be able to just let them in to use the bathroom?
No. Last year, the restrooms and the concessions were closed.
Okay.
And we are still in the red as far as our COVID cases. So we can certainly re-examine that as hopefully our numbers diminish. But Town Administrator Green did state today that he understood the purpose of closing the restrooms and concessions was for health and safety. So if anybody does have keys, they should not be using them unless there's a specific event that they want to have those restrooms open for, at which point they would either be providing an attendant to ensure the restrooms remain clean and stocked with appropriate product, and/or provided a cleaning fee, which is identified on the facilities use request forms.
Okay, so I see that, yeah, so Lou Mocher's here, Mike Matera's here for, Huzik.
Hey, yeah, can you all hear me? I'm on my phone.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I'm in the car, so I don't have the screen up, but yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. So, I guess, so the only one that's not here would be somebody from the Lassie League. And I guess nobody is Mr. Benson here? Are you here for Little League?
Yes,
Okay. There's nobody here for soccer? So, I guess they'll need to know, somehow somebody's gonna have to let people know that if they are having an event, that they're gonna need to do a request, field usage request, and then know that it's gonna have to take, because we only meet once a month, so they're gonna have to know that they're gonna have to get it in, if they know an event is upcoming.
Right, and I will be doing that.
Okay, great, thank you. Is that all from you, Mark?
At the present, yes.
Okay. So the next, would be discussion of applications for field use. So Lou Mosher just posted in the chat, does that mean that they can't actually play games weekly on the fields? Or is that's probably gonna be part of the field use request, I would think.
Yeah.
So the teams will have to submit a game schedule so that Mr. Scrocky can get the field prepared in time for the game.
Right, so once they're approved, even though so when they have games, will the bathrooms be unlocked then, or does it have to be a bigger event?
yeah.
The latter. It would have to be a more significant event.
Okay.
Do we have any requests for use of the fields?
That's the next point of order, so Michelle should have requests there.
Yes.
Very vague.
So we have ACS girls softball. We have soccer from Celia Norcross, Berkshire Youth Americans baseball, adult baseball, Adams Cheshire Little League, and Hoosick Valley High School so far. And I did create a schedule. I was hoping to use a laptop to show you what the schedule looks like. So it would kind of show not conflicting situations. The only conflict that we're running into that we just received was with Hoosick Valley requesting specific dates of May 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21, which is Monday through Friday, after 3:30. It kind of conflicts with Berkshire Youth Americans baseball. And they were requesting all of those dates from May through August. So there might be some time slots that might need to be rearranged depending upon what they have for a specific schedule. All I have is just the times that they requested.
So for the Hoosick, May 17th through the 21st, what is that? What sport is that for?
For baseball.
Okay.
Yeah, that's for
So,
baseball.
for reasons of history, the schools typically, since I've been involved, have gotten first usage of the fields, and the others are to follow, because the American League, that's typically after like a high school season. even though it starts before. So typically, and Mr. Fassel and Jake, you can also pipe in. It's been history as the school has been able to have the first dibs at all of the fields, correct?
It's a pretty general statement, but when we can, the high school should be given preference during the season till June.
Correct. Right. So you just confirmed what I said. Because the high school season only goes until while they're in school, and the American League, I'm assuming their season is much longer. Because Michelle, you said it goes through August.
Yeah, they had requested May 1 through August 29.
Yeah.
And it was only a couple of days during the week that might have had some issues, but they were asking for like the entire afternoon, like the
Yeah.
American. So I would imagine between the two of them, they can determine what they can work out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I just asked Jim or Jake to just give me their opinion. But in the past, it's been the high school has gotten first preference for the field usage. And then it has always worked out in the past. Mike, is this for practices or is it for games?
This is just for games. We're trying to have like a couple, maybe 2 double headers during that week for baseball, just to kind of get the kids out there and a good environment and everything like that. So it would be. I'm not sure if it'd be every day that week. That was the original plan with lacrosse, but now that you said lacrosse isn't able to happen there, it would just be for baseball. Yep.
Point of order, that has lacrosse put for any usage of fields?
No lacrosse, from what I understand.
No lacrosse?
Oh,
What's if you don't mind me asking, what's the reasoning that there's no this year?
oh, what? We've never let lacrosse and rugby. It's a baseball.
No.
We have soccer, we have football in the fall, we have baseball in the spring.
Okay, I was just under the impression that usually high school can do a lacrosse game there too, so I wasn't sure why. This is my first year here, so I just wanted to ask really.
Yeah.
Looks like Mark has a raising his hand. So Mark, what do you have to say?
So can I address Mike through the chair or directly?
Sure, Mark.
Okay. So Mike, did you get my email from this afternoon?
Yeah, I just looked it over about an hour ago.
Okay, so you don't have my approval yet?
Yeah, I know that.
Okay. All right. That's it, Cindy.
Okay. Typically, Mike, what I have heard before is that lacrosse isn't as friendly on the fields. And there's a scheduling and a time frame of when the fields get seated, and Steve Scroggy can speak on that, but typically lacrosse has not been able to play on those fields because of how unfriendly that sport can be on the field because it's so concentrated.
What's this? Isn't it a spring sport when baseball's playing? Right?
No, lacrosse has always been in the spring.
Yeah, well, it's a baseball field. We don't have any extra fields for. I don't want to.
Yeah, no, we're just asking because we're not able to use our practice fields up top. So without the use of Russell, it kind of causes like a domino effect, where if we schedule lacrosse games on the football field, we're not going to be able to have track practice, and that's going to take away about 12 practices from the track team by us using the football field. So we were just looking for alternatives, really. So I just wanted to get a little clarification on why we can't use it, so I could at least go back to the coach and say, hey, it's, the town's not allowing us to use that field, and tell the track coach, hey, we can't practice here because we're doing lacrosse. So I just want to make sure I'm giving the correct information to them. That's the only reason I ask, really.
Right.
There is,
Too many sports and not enough field.
Cheshire has, lacrosse has traditionally gone to Cheshire for its practices.
Right. I think they're-
Yeah, practices aren't an issue. We really want to get, the guys in a good environment and really showcase their, just them in the school, just like in the middle of the community, and hopefully, get some people out there and get some other kids watching, and build some more interest in the program. Because right now, to be honest, we're trying to, we're not like really rebuilding, but we're losing numbers every year. So I think the better atmosphere that we can create around our programs, I think the better off we'll be in the future. So
Maybe you should have a lacrosse field up at the high school.
yeah,
Not enough room.
I mean,
There's too many
yeah,
sports.
that's what I'm saying. With softball going on, we wouldn't be able to use it there. That's why we're moving lacrosse over to the football field for those games. But then that takes away from track. That's the problem we're at right now.
It seems to be a high school problem. It doesn't seem to be the town of Adams problem.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's the town of Adams' problem. All I was asking was I wanted to make sure I'm conveying the right information to our coaches. That's really all I'm saying here.
Right.
All I'm doing, I'm requesting. I'm in the same boat as everyone else in here. I'm trying to request for field approval. That's literally it. I just want to make sure I'm getting the right information.
Yeah, Mike, no, you're fine. You're new, and so you're just learning how the processes go.
Look, this COVID thing isn't helping out. Must Russell Field be getting fixed? Just be a learning process.
So Michelle, did you want to show us the
I
schedule
wanted,
that you have?
I wanted to show you, but the laptop is in use, so I can't plug in. So what I can do is I can share with you what it would look like. I can send you like the spreadsheet of what it would look like. But typically what I did was I created an Excel sheet, and each tab has its own field with the dates, the times for the entire year. And it's color coordinated to show that ACS is this in this section of the time of the entire year. So you can kind of see it. So I'll forward that off to you after the meeting or tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and the only other conflict I would say would be from the Lassie League, who you didn't say that they submitted theirs, so they would just need it for, I believe, the summer. But typically Lou and Corey Bishop from the Adams Lassie League have been able to work out a schedule to be friendly. But I will send a message out to Corey and tell him to get a field usage out to you ASAP.
What field do they usually use?
Russell.
Russell?
Yeah. But it's typically for travel seasons, which usually is after the 4th of July. However, obviously they would need practice time and tryout time. But again, that's always been worked out between Lou and Corey. So soccer is just submitting theirs, because I did see that soccer was using the field this past weekend.
Really?
Yeah. I live at the top of Valley Street, and I looked out and saw it looked like there was a lot of children on the field and even a referee of some sort. So I was kind of surprised, because I didn't think that we've, approved any field requests, so I'm just interested what the soccer field request looks like.
So the soccer application initially had, when I went back and looked at it, they had submitted their application dated September of 2020 through August of 2021. And when I was talking with Mark Blaisdell about it, he had mentioned that it's usually season for season of the applications.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is supposed to be season to season.
Right, so he did reach out to Celia Norcross in regards to that.
Okay.
But everything still had to get approved, from what I understand, through this meeting and the Board of Selectmen. So no one's been given the go-ahead that I'm aware of, unless, Mark, you've got any other information on that?
No, I would concur with your statement.
Okay,
Okay. Maybe it was a family up there. I don't know. I didn't go up to the field. I just seemed like there was a lot of people up there. And I know that it's getting nicer out, so people are getting antsy, and we're sort of late into a season. So I know that people are getting antsy. All right, so Michelle, I'll look forward to seeing that schedule, but I don't anticipate any issues. And hopefully the baseball can and the American team can figure something out. The next order is Russell Field update. But Mr. Tolbert, you sort of said that that the field construction is done probably in June.
Yeah, Becky up in community development said, we're still waiting for the tennis courts and then a final walkthrough, and then the Russell Field should be done as far as construction is concerned. At that point, the field will be turned over to DPW, and at that point, we can look at the condition of the grass in terms of use of the field. But tennis courts, we can possibly open at that time, if it's a good idea to separate the two, because you open up the tennis courts, now you're inviting people to the field too. So that's something that we'll look at when we get to it.
So would your suggestion be for Mike Matera to get a field use just to have on hand in the case that that we did talk about from that we did talk about possibly having like the senior night game at Russell Field, which would be later in the season? Granted, it's not going to be the fall, but if we see that the field and the grass is okay and it's up to par by Mr. Scrockey's standards, that if he submits something to say that it would sort of be open-ended, that they could have a senior night game at Russell Field, rather than having it get in too late and then having to wait since we only meet monthly.
That makes sense. Again, under the condition that, we have to establish that the grass is ready to go. That we want to make sure that field is well established.
Absolutely, but I'd rather have the paperwork in and sitting on your desk so that we're not waiting on them, and then it's, I'd hate to say no to the seniors and, oh, sorry, you can't have a game because the paperwork wasn't in on time. So if Mike get the paperwork in, you can leave it open-ended, Mike. You can specifically say it's for a senior night game. I'm assuming it's usually late in the season. It's typically against Wacona or Drury. And then, typically it would come before our board and, we would approve it with, saying, oh, on the, based on the fact that it's, approved by the DPW, it's approved by the code enforcement officer, and I guess the Board of Selectmen, if they're just letting us have the field. So Mike, if you could just get that to them, and then and then it's not in your hands anymore.
Yeah, 100%. We don't even have a finalized schedule yet, so we'll just schedule a home game for one of the last weeks possible in June, and if it works out, it works out. If not, we'll do something at home. So that's totally fine. But appreciate the proactive thought there. Thanks.
Yeah, and plus I'm assuming that the that the season is changed a little bit too, right?
Yeah, it's shorter. It's going to be more condensed. It might go a little bit after the school year. It might not. A lot. There's still a lot up in the air, but yeah.
I'd be a little bit concerned, Mark, that if we have other teams coming in, it's one thing to have just your team and say 12 girls at a practice. But if you bring in other teams to the fields to play, to not have bathroom usage. That question is for Mark Blaisdell.
Yes, I'm thinking about that.
Okay.
As I stated, we are presently in the red as far as our COVID positive cases, and a few of those are of the variant that does impact and affect youth. So presently, and maybe things will change hopefully over the next couple of weeks, where we open the restrooms. But presently, after speaking with the administrator, we think that it's in everybody's best interest that we keep the restrooms and concessions closed.
So what do we do?
Cindy.
What?
Hey, Cindy, this is Jake. I
Hi,
just wanted to kind of echo that and wonder what specifically are the mitigating factors, that keep people more healthy by not using a bathroom. So is it one at a time? If are there things we could implement to safely use the bathrooms?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, and that's why we put in there a condition that, for example, the restrooms have attendants who will make sure that the restrooms are kept clean, that they're not overcrowded, and that there's sufficient.
You're saying we can use them if we do these certain things,
right? And you submit a facilities use request form so that our DPW crews know who is using them, and when they check the facility afterwards, that it's in the same condition that the organization found it in.
Sure. So I would assume, is there a new facilities request form that specifically asks for bathrooms? I thought I never remember that being on there.
No, you would fill out the form separate from the sports use form. You would fill out the form, and under the condition, the special circumstances, on the second page of the application is where the organization would list the restrooms and or concession facilities.
Have folks that are, Cindy, for folks who've already submitted these facility request forms in the past, it's just been, and correct me if I'm wrong, just they used to just automatically, contain the assumption that, during games, the bathrooms were going to have to be open.
However, we're in a pandemic, and things have changed since then. As I stated, last year, the restrooms and the concessions were not open. So this year, we put in the contingency that they could be open with special facilities use request.
So, Cindy, maybe we gotta reach out to everyone who's already submitted a facilities use request and ask them to fill out an additional one if they want to use the bathrooms. So they're aware of it, and so we can actually try to make it happen. Because when like you said, when we have games and they're visiting folks here, I would assume it'd be less sanitary, even with even assuming that or under the understanding that we are still in a pandemic, that it's more sanitary to cleanly and safely operate a bathroom rather than having, parents and kids and athletes on a field with no place to go to the restroom or clean up.
And I do believe that in all of the field usage request forms that, and I'm not looking at one now, but I believe that it is the understanding of the person that's requesting it that the field will look like it looked when they first inherited it. So I don't believe any team has ever gone in. I believe most of the leagues and the teams that take these fields do make sure that they are, the garbage is taken care of, the bathrooms are clean to what they can clean. I do remember going in last year and there was, excuse me, a sign-up sheet in the Reed Field one, because I do know that I did see some names of parents from the ACS. They were signing it saying that they did check it, and there's not always, cleaner stuff in there or anything. So they were using whatever they had brought in. But yeah,
I appreciate the accommodations. I would just like to try to figure out how we can try to safely open the bathrooms and make sure that's we can help folks make that happen.
I agree. So I don't know whose job that would be to reach out to people who have already sent in field requests, that they have to specifically ask for bathroom usage for the times that they need it.
Can I say something?
Sure.
First of all, all the field, they have to all be hooked up. I haven't even hooked up the pipes yet, so it's gonna take a while to do that. Then if I have leaks, I have to fix that, so this could be another.
Right.
problem.
So it's not going to be overnight.
I just don't flip a switch and we got a bathroom. That's why I asked for schedules. They have to go.
No, I totally get that.
It's not gonna be ready next week. I know that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we had hail 2 days ago, so it's probably the smart.
No, 2 days.
Right, yeah, so just the way it's gonna be.
So that was the first order of business, was that the water needed to be turned on. And Mr. Tober said that we wanted to restore normal use of the fields ASAP. And then Mr. Blaisdell talked about this standards because of the pandemic that have been enforced. So I guess all I'm asking is that somebody reach out to all of these leagues that have put in field usage requests and let them know that they specifically, if they're asking for games, that they need to specify that they would like to use the bathroom. Because again, I'd rather have the paperwork in and there so that it can be either approved or not approved and they can know, because obviously I would think that they would want to cancel the game of a visiting player or visiting team coming in if it's not going to be any facilities to be used. So again, if somebody could please go and let all of the groups know that they need to check on page 2 of the field request usage form and specify that they need to use the bathrooms for the particular games that they need to use, so that is all in the hands of the DPW, so that it can be either approved or not approved.
Right. So the message is you can use the bathrooms by doing X, Y, and Z. If you do X, Y, and Z, you can use the bathrooms. And the message isn't, no, you can't use the bathrooms. I mean, that's a totally different
Correct.
Takeaway.
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
Is
as
this
I
really?
said earlier, I would make that notification to these organizations.
I missed that. Did Mark say he will?
Yes.
Cool. Thank you.
We have,
So to, this is Lou Moser with ACS, just to Mr. Blaisdell's point, currently right now, we are in the red, so those portions of the facilities are not accessible. The restrooms and concession stands. The notifications of red, green, yellow are kind of on a week-to-week basis. So, Mr. Blaisdell, would we need to apply weekly so say we have a schedule of games, would we need to apply weekly because those criteria are changing weekly?
No.
So, and
However-
Lou, it was my understanding that you can use and Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can use the bathrooms if you applied for it and had an attendant doing it. Is that correct, Mark? If they did the X, Y, and Z that you need, that even now he could use the bathroom?
So long as a facilities use request was submitted and approved
Right.
for the activity. But again, I can't speculate as to whether we'll stay in the red for a much longer period with greater numbers, which actually may set us back, even though the state may be in step 1 of phase 4, we may actually revert back if the numbers get worse.
But right now, being in the red, we could use the bathrooms if we did X, Y, the things that you require us.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. The message that Lou got was, no, he can't use the bathrooms, but that's incorrect. He could use the bathrooms if he did the steps. So that's just what I want to get out there. Like,
yes.
If we do certain precautions and take these certain steps that Mark's laid out, we can use the bathrooms. And that's what I just want to be clear to the teams about and help them with. Because, I think it's very unsanitary to have contests and a lot of people at a place and not having any facilities. So and I'm not sure how I can go about helping people do that. I think it's great that Mark's going to reach out to the organizations that's already applied, but I don't know if we can do an email blast to folks that typically apply. Maybe I don't know if Michelle or Cindy can do that to let them know.
Well, that's how I notified them of the current revision of the youth and adult amateur sports standard. Okay. So that'll go out tomorrow. I didn't want to send that ahead of this public health order.
All right.
So my concern with all of this is that if they now have to put a new field use request in, we are not scheduled to meet until Monday, May 10th. And most of the season will have been done. And so
can this just go right to Mark and the administrator then? Because essentially we've already said, yes, we don't mind the fields. And this is just basically the restrooms. And they would be the ones making the call anyways.
So let me give you 2 examples. There were 2 events at the visitor center that they submitted their facilities use, okay, that went through me and Jay and did not go through all the other approvals. Or maybe, I don't know, Robert, were you involved? Yes, actually you were involved because you had to provide the attendance and the cleaning crew. So it doesn't necessarily have to go through the entire process, just the key staff.
okay, I'm fine with that then.
It makes sense to me too.
Yep.
I'd just like to pipe in for a second too. Originally, when you're talking about, visiting teams coming in from abroad, they need to use the bathroom. One of the problems that we had last year was our resources. We were unable to have the resources to clean all the things that we needed to clean, given our current manpower. We had to go outside and contract with vendors to do the cleaning. If we get into a situation when all the teams can use it, we don't have the resources to be able to clean these buildings the way they should be cleaned. Now, I know you're talking about the teams doing the cleaning of the coaches, but enforcement of that, we still have to go and pick up, the waste and remove that, and there's always some cleanup that we have to do too. So I'm just cautioning that, you originally introduced about teams from outside coming in to be able to have the bathrooms for them. I don't know that we can accommodate every team to be open like that. We couldn't do it last year. I don't think we're going to be able to do it this year.
And I would be okay even putting more onus on the teams, and then maybe just having someone from the DPW having to spot check, and if it's not good, then it ends, or there's an associated fee.
What's that? Yeah, we got problems in the past like that. But it's a different kind of year with this COVID. It's not a joke.
I mean, I think, additional cleanup. I mean, just speaking on, behalf of, Reed and Russell, I mean, there's trash receptacles at both of those facilities that are used by, people who are using the park, using the playground.
Right.
You go by Reed Field, there's a trash receptacle right on, Sparrow Street that people, as they're walking by, they could throw a beverage can or dog waste or whatever into. But yeah, we had last year, to Cindy Bird's point, kind of put in a checklist for our coaches that after whether it was after a practice or after a scrimmage, because we were only scrimmaging last year, to go in, clean sanitize with a quat-free cleaner, and then initial off the date and the time that they did it. So that we had in place last year, obviously for something additional.
I think if the bathrooms were clean and that it was enforceable and they were able to do it to an acceptable standard, that would relieve us of our manpower problems. So again, that's something that Mark Blaisdell would have to review. But that would be a good partnership there. That would help us out in terms of being able to clean those.
Happy to help, certainly.
Okay. If there's no more discussion, then I guess the conclusion to that was Mark was going to send a blast email out, or Michelle is going to the other groups to make sure that they put their events on the second page for bathroom, as long as X, Y, and Z is covered. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. The next point of order is alternate field use for football instead of Russell Field. Steve Scrocky.
Yeah, I was wondering if, I know they've used it in the past as the Cheshire School, because there's lights there, I think they work. Just for practice, to save Russell. What's this, I don't know what they use it for now.
I don't know if they still are connected, but I think that's a great idea. It's an awesome little space too.
Yeah.
I know the high school liked using that when they were down there for a few years at night.
I might go down and see, I think his name's Mike Weber. He's the acting town representative. I might go and see him tomorrow and see what's going on. If we could use it, it'd be a big help. They used to play here in my kid.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to get together with Mike Mucci yet to walk the field to see if there was enough room for youth football to practice off to the side as we discussed before, so,
There's enough lights there because they moved, there's like 4 lights going in that area.
yeah.
So I think there's enough light.
That's an excellent idea, Steve, as an alternative use.
That's my alarm. We got about 25 minutes to finish up.
Oh, that's funny. So I don't know if you want to discuss it in the future, or I'll tell you what I found out tomorrow.
Okay. Scoreboards, a new donation for lights of $3,750. The lights are completed. We just need reimbursement to the town. How do we communicate the donation? And would there be a grand opening with the COVID restrictions? So what is the reimbursement to the town?
Basically, just a payment from the Lions. They approved a donation for the lights, and the lights are all now working there. So this was in addition to the scoreboards. So it's basically just a discussion point. It's something that we have to work out with the Lions Club in terms of what we're going to do to acknowledge their donation, and a matter of making that payment.
Oh, well, hopefully, Mr. Fournier can put a nice public announcement in the iBerkshires article that we are very grateful and appreciative to the Lions Club for their donation of $3,750 for the installation of lights at Russell Field. Thank you, Greg. So with the scoreboards, where are we with that?
Well, at this point, if Lou, I mean, we have a commitment from the Lions Club, and they're going to deal directly with whoever's going to handle this. In other words, the town is not going to do the actual contract. I think Lou Mosher had something with the engineering firm to go ahead on that. So I think that's where we're at this point.
Yeah, Mr. Tober, I had sent you that contact information on, and the quote that we had received earlier in the year. I was under the perception that you were kind of taking the lead on that.
I'll be happy to take the lead, but it'll be between the Lions Club and the engineering firm directly. So I'll be happy to put in the call and get that ball rolling.
Great, thank you.
And that'll be through the scoreboards for both Russell and Reed?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would believe that the other contact person would be Lou Mosher for Reed and then Corey Bishop for Russell. Mark, you're on the docket for COVID guidelines for park usage.
Right, and so the public health order that I issued last year was to replace the Board of Selectmen's order, and then, as I stated, I'm going to be updating this order, this public health order with regard to the use of the town parks, playgrounds, and athletic fields, with the language that we talked about for the sports activities and any other activity that needs to submit a COVID safety plan 10 days ahead of the scheduled activity, which lists those conditions of the operator and the planned activities, and the fines increasing from $300 to $1,000 per violation.
So though your guidelines for the park usage, all of what you just said is going to be sent to, posted somewhere or something that someone can.
It gets posted on the town's website and then gets sent to the stakeholders.
Okay. Are you all set with your report? Okay. Then discussion on prohibiting pets on any town parks, fields, and playgrounds. That also came from you, Mark?
Yes. So I have received many complaints, over my tenure here about dogs primarily, relieving themselves in the parks, the playgrounds, the athletic fields. And then recently in the media, apparently Mount Greylock Reservation has experienced the same type of activity. Many municipalities either have Board of Health regulations, town bylaws, or municipal ordinances prohibiting dogs, primarily dogs, pets in the in those facilities. So I wanted to know if the Parks Commission would want to endorse me to bring this to the Board of Health for a Board of Health regulation where the primary enforcers would be code enforcement, the police, and animal control.
Is there a way to meet in the middle somewhere? I like the idea of being able to, of responsible pet owners. Is there a way to increase enforcement of folks that are not being responsible and their dogs are going to the bathroom where they shouldn't?
Well, as you know, there's not a presence of code enforcement, police, or animal control for routine uses of the parks, playgrounds, or athletic fields. So that would be another occasion where you're asking the public just to be mindful of their pets' activities, and if there is a violation, it would have to be reported to one of the enforcers. And in today's technology, you would have photographs or videos, and hopefully someone able to identify the individual. But you know, you've got people who are going to be using the fields for practice and play. You have spectators who are going to be coming to these facilities, and you don't want them taking that excrement into their vehicles or to their homes. So it's pretty much an honor system, but if there were to be someone with their pets in these town facilities, they could be approached and asked to either leave with their pet or remove their pet or to clean up after their pet.
I like the idea of being able. I like the idea of the honor system and reminding folks that they should be responsible pet owners. But if there are any issues, it would be that are able to be enforceable. I think that would be a good thing. So I think there are a lot of people that are responsible with their animals. So I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
Well, understand that without such a regulation, you couldn't do the enforcement. If you had an irresponsible pet owner, could just tell you where to go and you couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
If you had the regulation, then it's enforceable. Without the regulation, it's not enforceable.
So could we have the regulation and still allow pets, but then just enforce, people who are not being responsible?
No.
Or is it all or nothing?
Yeah, it would be all or nothing.
All right. Well, then I would not support that.
I'm not sure I would either.
It kind of stinks that we can't just do something to folks that are doing the wrong things. Pun intended.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, so if there's someone walking their dog and they go to the bathroom right on the sidewalk, right in front of, a police officer or the code enforcement officer or health inspector, there's nothing we can do about it.
It never happens. They always do it when nobody's around. It's all over the bike trail. It's all over.
No, I assume that there would be some sort of ordinance that would allow us to do something if the right person saw it or was made aware of it. So that's too bad. But I don't want to ban dogs from, and pets from every park because, someone's bringing they're probably bringing them there at night and letting them off leash to go to the bathroom.
Exactly. What do they do?
Well, I think to Steve's point, and hypothetically to Jake's scenario, if you did see someone doing that, there's no recourse, there's no course of action that people can take, or be accountable for.
Correct.
So Mark, again, what you're saying is that if somebody is caught, whether it be me taking a picture of somebody letting their dog defecate at Reed Field, that's going to stand up for getting that person a fine?
There's presently no regulation, no bylaw that prohibits someone from allowing their dog to defecate on the park, the playground, or the athletic fields. If you're talking about some other public way, then the animal control officer and the police have jurisdiction for that, but not within the parks, the playgrounds, or athletic fields.
Oh. Well, are you trying to enforce or propose an ordinance that's not already being followed in the town of Adams? So you're saying that if it's anywhere other than a park, there's an ordinance that says that something can be done to a person?
There's
And
a bylaw. Yep, there's a bylaw for any other public way, but there is no Board of Health regulation or a town bylaw that prohibits someone from allowing their dog to defecate in a town park, playground, or athletic field.
You need that, not prohibit pets from, what if somebody wants to throw a frisbee with a pet on a field? You wouldn't be allowed to do that.
Oh, they're supposed to be leashed. It's another problem. They do it up Russell Field. You gotta be leashed.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen people bring their dogs to Russell Field all the time, and they let them run down.
They're wrecking that field, throwing sticks, leaving sticks.
Yeah.
When you go in the bathroom all over the place, it's a problem.
It's not just it's the void that's the problem too, when that kills grass.
The what?
The void, the urine kills.
Oh, yeah, right. That is a thing. Yeah, urine kills them.
So I'm not sure if do we have, Jake, do we have the authority to say yes or no that we agree with this? I mean,
yeah, we could take is it on the agenda? I mean, we could take a vote on it.
It's a discussion on the agenda, yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, we can if someone wants to make a motion to accept the proposal that Mark made, or then we can vote on it. I mean, but or if no one makes a motion, then we don't vote on it.
I guess I need to hear what the ordinance says again in order to form a motion.
About 10 minutes.
Mark, can you repeat the ordinance again so that I can see if the rest of the board wants to entertain having a vote?
So I was asking the Parks Commission if they would endorse a Board of Health regulation prohibiting pets in any town park, playground, or field, or athletic field.
Wow. And what would be the ramifications?
Without such a Board of Health regulation or town bylaw, no town official could enforce a pet being in the town park, playground, or field, and the purpose of prohibiting the pet would be primarily, as Steve pointed out, the dogs relieving themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would say, that just doesn't make any sense, because we are allowing the animals and the owners to be on the sidewalk and everywhere else. But I mean, they're going to have to walk around the parks. They're going to have to walk around Memorial Park. They can't take the sidewalk across the street there. I mean, why? I just don't agree with banning dogs and pets from parks. I would love to be able to consequence owners who are not responsible with dogs in parks, like we can in other areas, like Mark said. So can we change the ordinance to be something similar to, like, if someone was on a sidewalk?
That's what I'm asking for as well.
Right. So we don't have ordinances here in the town. We have bylaws, and bylaws have to go before a town meeting. Board of Health, however, can implement regulations regarding public health and safety.
So tonight, you're just asking us, the Parks Commission, to endorse with them. Like, they're already going to propose it?
No, I would, with your endorsement, I would make the proposed regulation to the Board of Health. Without your endorsement, I will not present the matter to the Board of Health.
I guess I would like to have just something similar to, like what Jake was just saying, whatever is happening with walking your dog on a street, rather than banning them from a park, then have something that would be able to, I mean, I don't want to ban every dog or every cat or whatever from every park, because not every animal is going to defecate on the parks. And you would have to, like Jake said, you couldn't walk on the sidewalk to get to one place to the other. So if there's something that can be written so that it mimics the bylaw that the town has, where you're not supposed to have your pet defecate or anything on the town property, then I would be more in favor of that rather than banning dogs. I mean, I live right next to the cemetery on Maple Street, and there's signs posted at the entrance of every place, and it says no dogs allowed. I see people walking their dogs unleashed all the time.
Exactly.
So is that part of the town bylaw that
It is a bylaw.
So it's not being enforced.
Okay. So can't you just, that's what speaking for myself, but I believe that that's what Jake's asking for too. let it just be the same as what the town bylaw is.
Yeah, right.
Okay. I don't think that the
It's mostly athletic.
board of, our board has the objective of enforcing town laws. I don't think that that's our responsibility.
Correct, Mr. Fassel, and that's why I said I would present it to the Board of Health. And so the enforcers under such a regulation would be the code enforcement, police, and or animal control by adoption.
So I mean, at this point, without a motion on the floor, it's up to the chairperson to decide whether we're gonna move on or keep on discussing. I'd assume that's where we are now.
It doesn't sound like, three of the board members are even in favor of entertaining it. I can certainly put a vote out there, but I am not convinced by it. So what do my fellow board members, if I put a motion out there, is somebody going to second it? Or are we just going to turn it down?
Yeah, I'll second.
You would. So
Yes.
you're going to accept the motion to have an ordinance endorsed and submitted to the Board of Health saying that no animals are allowed on any parks, town parks, fields, and playgrounds. And if they get caught, they would be fined at whatever is part of the ordinance.
Yes, so we can take a vote, sure.
Okay, so that's my motion. Motion to accept the proposed endorsement of having no animals allowed on any town field, park, or playground, with the fines and regulations that are going to be associated with that endorsement.
Yeah, second.
Who is seconding it?
Paul.
Paul. All in, Mr. Fassel, how do you vote?
No.
Jake, how do you vote?
No.
I also vote no. So that is,
Also,
I'm sorry,
also no. So now you have it on record.
who's also a no? Oh, Paul, okay,
Paul.
thank you. Okay. Okay, so we'll move on to old business, general discussion of the topic of youth football league at Russell Field. Still need to make plans to walk the field with Mike Mucci. Mr. Tober already said that he has not had a time to walk with Mr. Mucci. I'm assuming that that will go on for old business for the next meeting.
Steve, you, could you bring forward what you want?
Oh,
You suggest you can do that right now?
what, Trish, I already said. Treasure Field?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet with Mike tomorrow. Administrator Treasure. So we can maybe be able to use.
So we'll put that in the minutes right now. So, yeah, it's already in there.
Yeah,
It's already in there?
yeah, we already mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna talk about-
That's in the works.
Right, good.
Yeah.
And then continued discussion regarding Russell Field and Reed Field scoreboards refurbishment. We've already discussed that. For good to the order, I'm trying to rush. I'm sorry. I see that it's 6:15. Do you have anything, Paul?
Other than, I know the town voting is coming up. I didn't get enough signatures to qualify, so maybe if the good man from the iBurchers could put in write-in votes for me, that would be great. I would still like to be a member of this board. I just didn't get enough, signatures on my
Okay,
candidacy.
Okay.
So I'd still like to be on the board, so if you can, I don't know how many write-in votes you need, but.
well, we have plenty of open seats this term, so, Mr. Fassel, anything from you?
No, I'm just interested in making sure that the football program continues and we find a spot for them. So,
Well, you got a spot just for practice.
yeah, well, that's what I mean, the
Yeah.
practice. Well, without putting them on Renfrew Field to practice, that would get,
Yeah, we're just trying to look out for alternatives.
but that's all I have.
Yeah, right.
Okay, Jake, do you have anything good to the order?
Just to thank the Lions Club for their donation. That's pretty heavy lift. They're very generous of them. And I also just want to reiterate that I think we're making progress of getting players on fields, and that's what it's all about. And to focus on how do we make that happen rather than the obstacles that are in our way. So I appreciate that. And the issues with the dog feces drives me crazy too. So I'm glad Mark brought it up. I hope there's a way we can get the message out there and try to enforce it more, but to promote responsible ownership, and still allow dogs. But it is an issue, and hopefully we can find another way to tackle it. That's it.
Thank you.
Just,
I also,
one thing for me, with the approval of field usage, and obviously per Mr. Scrocky's point, he doesn't have the set up yet, but would we, going forward, would we be able to get the Reed Field infield dragged, so we could start doing some practices there at some point in the near future?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, I'll let the coaches know. Thank you, Steve.
I'll depend on the weather here, it's weather dependent. Yeah, we plan on doing it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome.
my good to the order would be reiterating what Jake said, promoting more for responsible dog owners and pet owners. I also recognize it being a problem all over town. As for the Lions, thank you very much for their generous donation for the lights and for the scoreboards. I look forward to seeing all of it lit up at night, and field being used by kids. And I also want to thank everyone for my last 3 years on the board. I will not be running for this seat. So come May, my seat is open. I did want to continue and see the whole Russell Park project come to fruition. However, there have been some negative issues regarding my seat. So I am going to kindly step away from this and hope that somebody else will take over and make sure that girls sports has a place, and all kids are able to get out there and play and enjoy sports. With that being said, schedule for the next meeting would be Monday, May 10th.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
I know I kind of missed my spot. This is Michael Benson with the Little League. Now, are we able to start using the field up there? Yeah, like I have a schedule all set. I can get it to Steve in the morning. We're planning on our opening day Saturday.
Forget it. Nothing's hooked up there yet.
We don't need anything hooked up. The kids just can go play, long as if we can get the field line, and we'd be fine. We just need a field to play ball on. The kids, get the kids outside and play to start our season.
It's gonna be weather dependent too on the rain. I can do what I can. Did you already,
I'm sorry.
did they get approved to use the field yet?
We haven't approved any uses of the.
Yes.
Okay, that was the question I'm asking. So we gotta wait till what, May 10th now to find out if we can use the field or not?
So I guess I missed that part. Then we should have had a formal motion put aside to accept every field use. I have nothing to look at. So I have nothing to gauge it on.
Yeah, why?
What, this?
Is this it?
All the,
Field usage?
Well, that is just the summary, that's not the actual application. But yeah, that's just a summary. So I had created a quick spreadsheet of just the current applicants that we have of when they're using it. I can forward that over to you, but I didn't know if you needed to see all the applicants or what you normally see.
well, I think typically in the past, we've had to go through each individual application and approve or not approve. And there's always the, tagline on there that it's always Mr. Scrocky has final say, based on obviously weather and, but I honestly, because I'm not looking at it, I can't see any of the applications. So I don't know how that we can have a vote unless you just leave it in the hands of, Mr. Fassel, what do you do in that case? Or Jake, what do you do in this case? We're not at liberty to see the applications to go over each one. So what do we do?
They're not in our, I was just looking through the packet, so we didn't get them at all. So you said you have a spreadsheet of them. So at this point, essentially it's almost like they came in afterwards, so they would go right to probably Steve and the town administrator. It's a oopsie on our part, sounds like, but I don't know. I think I don't want them to wait for us to have a meeting again.
No, I don't either. And since they're all there looking at them, we would get overruled anyway if
they have them in front of them down there.
Yes.
I don't. If someone wants to read them out loud, I don't mind voting out. Just
We have very limited time right now. We have about 8 minutes before another meeting comes on, so we need to definitely close up at this. But
I see in the chat, Mark is raising his hand.
So yes, I pointed out to Mike earlier, Mike Matera, regarding the Hoosick Valley High School baseball, that there were deficiencies with his COVID plan. You might recall that I asked him if he received my email from earlier this afternoon. He said he did. So there are some deficiencies with that, if you were going to take that into consideration for approval.
Okay, thank you. Jake, I'm gonna side with what your experience here, being part of this for as long as you have, that if these all in after, we're not privy to see them. So if then leave it in the hands of the DPW and Mark and Steve and.
what was that, Steve?
The problem is I never have a schedule when the games are to give you enough time to get the fields ready. I need like a 2-week notice or a week and a half or something. You know what I mean?
Steve, we can line the field for the first couple games if you want. I live directly across the street from DPW. I can walk and hand it to you tomorrow morning. I'm willing to do anything you want to help. We did all the work the last year to get the field looking nice. We appreciate everything you guys do up there. We just want to get the kids out playing. I'm trying to get, right now I have to have 12 teams on a field on the Chester. So now the little kids are losing out because the big kids got to come down here because they play up there, and we already delayed our season a week because we normally open the last week in May or April.
This is a different kind of year this year too. You
No, I
So-
understand it, but it's, I mean, they did fall ball out there. We had no issues. I mean, the kids played, they had fun.
gotta-
So Cindy, I guess for the sake of time, I'll make a motion that the board takes no action on the current facility request forms, and we send them directly to the town administrator to take action on them, like he would if something came in after a meeting anyways.
Yeah, I'll have to meet with Jake tomorrow.
I'll second that.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, so Jake has made the motion. Mr. Fassel has seconded. Paul?
Yes.
Paul's a yes. I'm a yes.
I'm a yes.
Yes,
Yes. So we're all set with that. That was a great motion. Thank you, Jake.
Mike,
You can get them playing.
Mike, just get a hold of me tomorrow and we'll see what we can do.
Okay, thank you.
And then Mark,
Wait a
Mark, I
minute.
would assume. Oh,
Yeah, some
God.
of the park too. If he's gonna do all the, if,
Yeah,
you know,
Mark.
according to the laws, that's the other problem. Well,
Right. I'm assuming Jay would talk to you and Mark before approving anything, like, you know, if Huzik's COVID plan is not up to snuff, then obviously
I'm
Jay's.
talking about the Little League one right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Everybody's approved except, on my side, except for the Hoosick Valley High School.
so Mike Benson knows what he has to do
Mike?
Yes.
for Little League?
So can we start using the fields for practice or no? We're approved from Mr. Blaisdell.
No, just wait for the town administrator to sign off, Mike.
I see.
We'll have to get back on that. We
I'll
can't-
find out tomorrow. I'll meet with Jay.
Okay, so Steve Scrocky, when you meet with Jay, how are we gonna get this conveyed to all of the groups?
Michelle.
What's the email?
I can email.
Volunteer, Michelle.
Okay, so Lou, Mike, and the other groups, Mike Matera too, they're all gonna get an email from Michelle. I will send an email also to both athletic directors, to Corey. I don't need to send one to Lou or Mr. Benson. So I'll just let them know to look forward to an email from Michelle DeRose of the Town of Adams, with approval or denial of field usage.
No problem.
We got 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Before-
so,
Cindy, before we adjourn, I just want to thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you as a commissioner and as chairwoman, and looks like we're going to work you right up to the last minute of this meeting. So it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Cindy.
thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So.
Second.
All in favor? Paul,
Aye.
Jim, Jake.
Aye.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Take care.
Bye.
Yeah.